yesterday's RV also, and today
या आप
also
देश
I'm
के
going
लिए कर
to.
रहे हैं, देश के लिए इतना कर रहे हैं, so
Oh,
it is
that is true.
the whole lifetime of service to the country, you know. So
That is true. That is true.
hats off to you. So मुझे how do you see the entire Middle East situation from your perspective?
See, without doubt, it is on boil, and this is not something new. This is a very old, shall I say, fight between Iran and Israel, and unfortunately, or fortunately for Iran, it used to be through the proxy, the 3H, the Houthis, the Hamas, and the Hezbollah. But now, for the first time, or maybe second time, that they have come out openly, and they have fired the missiles on the Israeli land. Many of it has been intercepted, but I think that it's not going to die down, but it will limited to these regions. It will not spread out anywhere, to my mind, because nobody has a stomach to do a big combat. As you know that yesterday there was some talk that it has fallen on some Russian airfield. So that's not correct, because that airfield doesn't belong to Russia, except that in Syria, or in Syria, these are the airfields which have been built by the Russians. It has got a lot of Russian equipment. But Russia doesn't have any airfield its own. It doesn't own any airfield there. So, but Russia has warned that if anything on its own soil, they will respond properly. But I don't think these two superpowers will respond directly against Iran. Russia is, of course, friendly to Iran, but the US unlikely to openly do any attack on Iran till such time the Iranian missiles or any effort of Iran to attack the American assets, for example, the ships in Mediterranean, or maybe shall I say, the oil tankers, uh, the ships, the American ships which are carrying the goods from from the through the Red Sea. Uh, but it's not going to be easy, because now Israel has really gone too far to listen to anybody. So it's a as they say, clash of civilization, and it is not between Christians and Muslims. It is between the Shia Muslims and the Jews. Uh, and you've been hearing Prime Minister Netanyahu. He is quite bold to say that he is going to not going to sit tight till such time he demolishes both Hamas and Hezbollah. And as you know, that Nasrullah has been killed, uh, and the one more guy, senior guy, has been killed. Hamas has been really, pushed against the wall in Gaza. But mind you, the terrorist organizations don't vanish just because the leader has been killed. Because when the one leader is killed, they know that they will be killed. So the next guy takes over. The problem is that it is a battle of ideology. The ideology between Shia Islam and the Jews. It's a question of ideological differences, and these ideological differences don't go away till such time you sit down and talk about it, which is unlikely to happen. And ideological differences can only be bridged by de-radicalization. There has to be a de-radicalization program, but who's going to do de-radicalization of Iran? Who's going to do it for Hezbollah? Who's going to do it for Hamas? Who's going to do it for Houthis? So we are in a quite a bad situation, really, and it's affecting the whole world. If the you see, the oil prices have already gone up. There are less ships going through Red Sea now. They are going around the Cape of Good Hope. It takes about a week extra, 6 days extra, and costs more money. Insurance costs have gone up a lot. So I think that the impact of this is going to be quite big. And I hope that there are people there are countries who are constantly making an effort to bring some peace. But now looks like even Turkey seems to be raising its head, though they have not done it so far. But the Kurds in Turkestan, Turkey is mainly Sunni, but the ones in Kurdistan, the Kurds are of a different, more like Shiites. So they have an internal problem, which if they don't say anything, it will be taken quite amiss. But the Arab world is by and large is keeping quiet. By and large, Saudi or United Arab Emirates, even Qatar, they have not made any statement against Israel, and there is a reason for it because Israel was already in good relation with them. The India Middle East trade corridor was being readied, and a lot of roadways, a lot of railway links have been established, and Israel is part of it. And then it is goes into the Eurasian land, near possibly further west of Baku. It's a really it's a bad time for the world, and, and I don't find even Russia Ukraine dying on, and the West has been beaten quite badly in Ukraine. All these days, that we are winning and Ukraine will win. That was all fake news, really. We always knew, at least we knew that it's difficult to beat Russia. It's an old superpower. It has got capacity to manufacture, capacity to recoup. I went to Moscow in June, or maybe in July, I think, maybe. And I didn't find any signs of any war or anything like that. Everybody's happily going around in their own jobs. Markets are flourishing. People are moving, happily dancing, singing on the roads on the weekend. And tourists are bloody flocking all over Russia. So I really don't see any signs of fatigue in the Russians. In fact, there is more sign of fatigue in the West, particularly European Union, and there is there is a concern amongst the European Union countries that, come on, you can't just keep pumping money and nothing comes out of it. I, we should understand that Ukraine is only a pawn. The fight is between the West and the Russians. And if somebody thinks that Ukraine will do peace talks, sorry, Ukraine has no locus standi in this entire war. After all, the American president said we will keep supplying all help, including weapons, till there is a last Ukrainian standing there to fight. It looks like he really meant it. The last Ukrainian will shortly be on the roads to fight. So this is see, my only my sadness is on something else. My sadness is the five permanent members of the UN Security Council. The first task is to maintain peace and stability in the world, and there are five out of four are indulging in actually pumping this war. Russia, America, uh, UK, France, they're all adding fuel to the fire. Are they functioning? That's why when our external affairs minister Jaishankar said that the relevance of UN is going because it is not a true representation of the world. Half the world is not represented. That's why it doesn't carry any weight. You can't keep having only support Africa, do this and do this. At the same time, billions of dollars are being pumped into. After all, who's gaining? Nobody's gaining. The money which is being given on loan or whatever to Ukraine is buying everything from the American industry. So American money is coming back to America. It's not going anywhere. In between, in the middle, Ukrainians are dying. There are hired chaps, mercenaries who've been hired. They are dying. So it's a really a terrible situation. Really terrible. I don't know
नहीं,
how it is going to go. Yeah, sorry.
यूक्रेन यूक्रेन ने हैज गिवन ए बिग लेसन टू द वर्ल्ड.
Yeah,
उन्होंने यूक्रेन ने बोला है कि कॉमेडियन को प्रेसिडेंट नहीं बनाओ, पहली बात तो.
yeah,
एंड
true.
डू नॉट फाइट ऑन, मतलब वेस्टर्न इंटरेस्ट या अमेरिकन इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर लड़ो मत, बिकॉज दैट इज
American and West.
इनवेस्ट.
I mean, it was very close to peace till then. Prime Minister Boris Johnson went and told him, don't back out. We fight, we'll support openly. I mean, it was out in the press. So
अच्छा.
yeah, he said so. It's all recorded. Boris Johnson flew down in a hurry and he told Volodymyr Zelensky, that don't back out. We are supporting you. So there's no need. And peace talk was going on. Finally, it failed. It failed because it didn't move forward because of bloody indulgence of Mr. Boris Johnson.
एक्चुअली एक मुझसे आप टेल मी सम इंटरनल न्यूज़, जैसे कि yesterday I wrote an article in Sathology.com. I'll send you the article. कि वेस्टफालियन मॉडल ऑफ सॉवरेंटी इज फेलिंग नाउ, और यूनाइटेड नेशंस जो बनाया गया था to protect the sovereignty of nations has been misused by the Western powers to destroy countries which are not in their favor of economic interest. किया है उन्होंने, वॉर्स किया है, कोरियन वॉर हुआ है यूनाइटेड नेशंस के अंदर, इराक वॉर हुआ था. सो नाउ विद, अभी ऐसा नहीं है कि लोगों को पता नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑफ सोशल मीडिया एवरीबडी नोज. और ईरान की लीडरशिप को भी पता होगा, इजराइल की लीडरशिप को भी पता होगा कि क्या हो रहा है. तो ये क्या, ये जो मैच है ये ईरान और इजराइल वाला, इज इट ड्रामा? बिकॉज दे इन्फॉर्म यूएस एंड रशिया दैट वी आर गोइंग टू अटैक इजराइल. इजराइल इज रेडी, फिर मिसाइल फायर होती है सेकेंड टाइम. सेम थिंग हैपेंड सेकेंड टाइम. आपको कैसा लगता है इधर, या व्हाट डू यू सी?
No, there is what is called a CBM. There is a confidence building measure in which any ballistic missile to be fired, some people have to be kept in picture. It depends on how much notice do you give. If you give 2 hours of notice, it may not be adequate to take all protective measures, and you don't know how many missiles will come. That you don't know. If you pump in 180 missiles in a period of 2 hours, it has saturated the Iron Dome. If it was not for US Navy destroyers in the Mediterranean,
तो आपको लगता है कि आयरन डोम वाज सैचुरेटेड इन दिस
yeah,
अटैक?
of course, it was saturated because the rate at which you fire missile, the rate at which the Iron Dome can respond, they saturated this. Well, the missile has fallen on one airfield. They have lost some F-35. The hangars have been destroyed. They may not accept it, but it has happened. It has happened. And that's a big setback. And that is why you see the Israel has not attacked Iran so far, though they said we will respond. That is because now they are working out between US and Israel as to how do we, take revenge. Because Israel has been attacked with the long range ballistic missiles from Iran. That has not been responded. They're only shooting the Lebanese land in the southern Lebanon, where the Hezbollah's headquarters are. But as I said, the terrorist organizations killing head number 2, number 10, it has no impact on the ideology that they're carrying. No impact. Has the ideology changed? No. Every chap who is in Hezbollah, who is an Iranian, that origin, he knows that Jews are there to exterminate them, and that is why they should be pretty wiped out from the world. As it is, the population of Jews very less. They're very few. I think there are just about 2 million, if I'm not wrong.
No, 6 million in Israel and 7 million in the US. 13 to
Yeah,
14 million.
okay. Okay, sorry, it must be totally 20 million all over the world.
20 million plus some other converted ones. तो
Yeah,
वो लोग भी
so the the Sunnis are not involved in this. The Sunni organization is Hamas. Hamas was actually created by Israel. They had created Hamas to get after bloody Hezbollah.
correct.
Right? But now, after some time, Hezbollah and they have become friends, and they say, "Hey, look, our common enemy is Israel, and therefore they are not anti-Hezbollah anymore. In fact, now they are being funded and armed by Iranians.
Wow.
So they have three terrorist organization, the front organization, 3H, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis. So, though it is a Sunni organization, they don't have the backing of Saudi Arabia and they don't have the backing of UAE, or they don't have any backing of other Sunni countries. In fact, if you ask me, they should be happy because the Sunni world has been given a very bad name in terrorism.
Mhm.
Osama bin Laden and the whole lot, because of people like Bloody Hamas, people like Al Qaeda. So they actually want these fellows to be wiped out because MBS is a very educated man. He's a learned fellow and a brilliant fellow. He knows all this will not do. And Muslims are getting a bad name, Sunnis particularly. That's why the amount of liberty and liberations he has done in Saudi is a very, you've got to go and see it in Riyadh.